All right, here was another sticking point that I saw in some of my students' pre-calculus final exams. And they were sticking points that maybe didn't have to be there. But you would be given a point, and the point would be, say, 3, 5, right? And it would say, this is a point in a plane that represents a terminal point on an angle. So if I went right 3 and then up 5, it's talking about this point here. So it's a terminal point. So this is 3 comma 5. It's not on a unit triangle because this radius is not 1 naturally, because I'm going right 3 and then up 5. So what I have to do is figure out what that r is. So in order to solve this, I have to know that r is equal to the square root of x squared plus y squared. So I'm going to substitute my x and my y values in here for x and y in my formula. So x is 3 and y is 5. So I would have 3 squared plus 5 squared is 9 plus 25, which is what, 34? So I know that this r is square root of 34. So now I have all the pieces I need to do what the problem is asking. The problem is saying if this is a terminal point, what are all my trig functions? So I might have to, I could look at sine, cosine, and tangent of the angle being generated, say alpha right here. And I know that the sine of alpha is going to be the opposite over the hypotenuse. Well, I know that's 5 over the square root of 34, which simplifies, multiply the top and bottom by radical 34. That becomes 5 root 34 over 34. All right, a similar thing is going to happen with the cosine. I have 3 over radical 34. So 3 over radical 34, that simplifies into 3 root 34 over 34. That's a square root symbol. And then the tangent of this angle is opposite over adjacent, so 5/3. Easy enough. This one does not need to be simplified because there's no radical in it. So if I wanted to find the other 3 trig functions, I would be looking at the cosecant of theta. Well, the cosecant of theta is just the reciprocal of sine. So I'm not going to reciprocate this and simplify it again. I'll just reciprocate this, which is root 34 over 5. All right. Then we have the cosine. Well, the reciprocal function of the cosine is the secant. So this is another trig function that would be asked for. So that would be root 34 over 3. And then last but not least, you would have cotangent of theta, which is reciprocal of this. There's no radicals in that, so I'm just going to reciprocate it and say it's 3/5. So there we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are the 6 trig functions associated with this terminal point of 3, 5. So it's in quadrant 1. These things, everything's positive in quadrant 1. So that's all we would have to do. The thing that I think stuck a lot of students was it said give the exact ratios. So that meant to leave it as the radical of 34. I think sometimes students think simplify means type it in a calculator and get a decimal approximation, but we did not have to do that here. So that is all until the next time.